Developers are not happy with Meta following the v77 update. Apple Vision Pro gets game-changing PSVR2 controller support, and an employee at Microsoft is working on reviving Windows mixed reality headsets. All that and more coming up in this episode of the Virtual Lowdown. What is going on, virtual friends? Welcome to another episode of the Virtual Lowdown, the show where I bring you the latest and most exciting news going on in the VR world. So kicking things off today with some meta news, the v77 update has now rolled out to most people with a Quest 3 or Quest 3S headset. However, if you're like me, then you've got the update like a couple of weeks ago and still no UI updates or navigator to be seen. And I think that was probably the thing that was most anticipated. People were really looking forward to getting to try the new navigator system, but if you're like me, then you've got the update, but the navigator and the UI remains the same as it always has been. Now, if you are in that boat, then don't worry too much. Basically, the way Meta does things is you might get the update, but they won't actually roll out all of the features to every single headset at the same time. So we don't know when we're going to be getting these features. Some people already have them. Other people, it's going to take a bit longer. Unfortunately, I always seem to be like one of the last people to get these updates, so if that's you as well, you're not alone, don't worry about it. However, if you are a developer on the Quest platform, then you may need to be worrying about it, because developers have not been happy with Meta following the recent v77 update. Many developers have reported several issues that were already identified in the PTC, or the public test channel, which was supposed to be the test channel to iron out all of these bugs before an update goes live. So understandably, a lot of developers are not happy that a lot of the bugs that they have cited in the PTC and reported basically went ignored, and they released v77 with a lot of these bugs anyway. A couple of these bugs are things like audio crackling issues, as well as, I believe, on virtual desktop, when you switch to pass-through, oftentimes it can completely just cut the audio out overall, even when you turn back into like the game. So that actually is something I've experienced. Sometimes I'll go into pass-through to get a drink or something, and then when I go back into the game, the audio is just gone and I need to restart the app. Good to know that it's on people's radars. I wasn't sure if it was just an issue on my end, but very annoying. But there are other issues as well. It isn't just the audio, but this is especially frustrating, I guess, for developers, because Meta previously and quite recently made a pledge to improve their quality control prior to releasing updates, so that developers and users don't face a bunch of kind of headaches every time they update their headset. Many users have also described having issues with the v77 update as well. However, I'm not going to cover that just yet until I've had time to actually test out the update for myself. So if you're looking forward to that video, that will be coming out whenever Meta decides to give me the new navigator, so just make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on that one. So Meta's CTO Andrew Bosworth did state in an AMA that they were aware of the bugs. They are aware of the bugs, and they were aware of them before they even released v77, but due to reasons that he can't get into, they were forced to release the update anyway, despite these bugs existing and despite their prior agreement or their prior promise to do better at quality control. Meta is, however, reportedly working on fixes, and apparently a couple of the fixes will require firmware updates from Qualcomm as well, who make the Snapdragon chip that goes in the Quest headsets. So not sure exactly how long that will take to do. It might be a little bit if we're waiting for, Qualcomm to also do firmware updates. Might take a little bit for some of these bugs to be ironed out. Meta did reiterate on their promise to improve quality control going forward. However, this isn't a good start. But now for some good news. We can expect the Apple Vision Pro to be getting PlayStation VR2 controller support with the upcoming visionOS 26 update. So for context, the reason this is such a big deal is because currently the Apple Vision Pro relies on a combination of eye tracking and hand tracking, using kind of like pinch type gestures to control everything that you do in the headset, which in itself is very impressive, but it just doesn't lend itself well to gaming experiences. Now, as much as Apple has shown off their very impressive kind of productivity and content consumption abilities within the Apple Vision Pro, gaming is just something that's not really feasible currently in its current state. The PlayStation VR2 controller support could change that. And I think that's really important because despite how cool the productivity and content consumption features are on the Apple Vision Pro, I still believe that the majority of people who are picking up a VR headset of any sort are doing it to game. They're doing it for gaming and entertainment purposes and much less for productivity purposes. And so giving the Apple Vision Pro PlayStation VR2 controller support is a strong indication that they will be taking gaming more seriously for the Apple Vision Pro and hopefully opening it up to a much wider market. Now, don't expect this to be an immediate game changer and then suddenly everyone's going to have Apple Vision Pros and they're all going to be gaming in their fancy glass headsets. I don't think that's going to happen just yet, mostly because, well, a couple of reasons. First, because the Apple Vision Pro is still very expensive at $3,500 US. It's just not accessible to a lot of people. And secondly, because the developers need a bit of time to catch up as well. I can't imagine developers being super quick to jump on it just because of the PlayStation VR2 controller support. I definitely think it's a big step in the right direction, but I see this more as kind of preparation for the upcoming rumored kind of budget Apple Vision Pro or Apple Vision headset. If Apple can successfully integrate PSVR2 controller support for the Apple Vision Pro, then hopefully it means when their budget headset drops, it will be available to a lot more people and already be able to work out of the box with PSVR2 controllers, meaning they'll be able to open up the budget headset to the gaming community as well. So while Apple Vision Pro owners will no doubt be able to benefit from PSVR2 controller support at some point down the line, like I said, see this as preparation, hopefully for future plans by Apple. What's also exciting about this is that ALVR's test flight builds for visionOS 26 now officially support PSVR2 controllers. And if you're not sure what ALVR is, it essentially functions as like a SteamVR tool, streaming tool for the Apple Vision Pro, similar to what the Quest Link or Virtual Desktop does for the Quest. And you can see the PSVR2 controllers being used here with the Apple Vision Pro. You just have to ignore the index controller kind of overlays. I think it's still in early build at the moment. But yeah, apparently the controllers work absolutely fine as they are already, so I don't think it's going to be a long time until we see this support coming to the AVP. So what's exciting about this is that for the very small percentage of people, I'm guessing, that own an Apple Vision Pro, also own PSVR2 controllers, have a game-ready PC, and who are using ALVR, they'll now be able to basically play SteamVR games within your Apple Vision Pro, which previously was basically just not feasible using like the eye tracking and pinch gestures. So that's huge. If you have an Apple Vision Pro and you're looking forward to gaming, that could be this could be a massive door being opened to you very soon. So if you're in that small minority of people that fits all of those categories, then, well, you're in luck. But like I said, the biggest story here, I think, is the Apple's willingness to kind of embrace third-party hardware and software to really expand the gaming experience in future upcoming, hopefully more budget Apple Vision headsets. And while we're talking about the Apple Vision Pro, Adobe is reportedly making a native visionOS app specifically for editing spatial videos and spatial content within your Apple Vision Pro. So while we do have very limited information about this currently, it was officially announced at the WWDC 25 by Apple. So hopefully this is definitely something that will be coming true very soon. And you can see we have a short demo here where they are just like adding text over a video of a horse, which I guess is pretty cool. And if you're not sure what spatial videos are, it's essentially stereoscopic 3D videos that just, well, seem to be 3D instead of just flat. And you can view them from within your Vision Pro headset and also your Quest headsets as well now. And you can actually capture this video using your phone if you have one of the newer Pro model iPhones. So I guess the idea is instead of taking the video on your phone and having to do all the editing on your phone, you can now just do all of that directly within your Vision Pro headset, which I guess is pretty cool. But for me, the bigger thing is that it's good to see companies, especially large companies like Adobe, actually starting to create native apps for the Vision Pro. I still feel like that's one thing we're really lacking in VR overall, is like big companies who provide services that a lot of people use quite frequently, having them to actually create native apps that are meant to be used in VR or MR. So it's really good to see companies starting to take VR and mixed reality in general a little bit more seriously and investing the time to actually develop native apps. Hopefully we see more of that in the future. And finally, this is not something I expected to see today, but a Microsoft employee is just by himself deciding to go and develop a driver that will hopefully revive the old Windows mixed reality headsets. So this lone Microsoft employee has decided to basically create a driver for SteamVR for use in the Windows mixed reality headsets that are no longer compatible after the Windows 11 24H2 update. The driver is called Oasis and reportedly is already working with NVIDIA GPUs, so we're just waiting for AMD support for, I guess, wider compatibility. Now, I've never owned a Windows mixed reality headset, but I know there is like a small but very dedicated community of people that kind of invested in Windows mixed reality, like, I guess, back before when they were doing that. It really seems Microsoft has kind of dropped the ball when it comes to investing in the VR space. Like, they had real potential to being like big players in the MR, VR, XR kind of space, but they just didn't do anything with it, I guess. Maybe they didn't see the potential in the technology, or just maybe they didn't know what direction to go with it. Whatever it is, they've kind of really dropped the ball, and hopefully, like, I know this isn't Microsoft officially doing this. This is just a single employee at Microsoft who has decided to take it upon himself to revive these old headsets, which is really awesome, by the way. Yeah, hopefully Microsoft kind of, I don't know, takes inspiration from this and gets their head back in the game. So hopefully if you own a Windows mixed reality headset that was previously non-functional, well, with any luck, this news has just made your day, and soon your old headset will be revived. The Oasis driver is expected to drop hopefully later this fall and will be totally for free. And that's going to be it for today's episode of the Virtual Lowdown. So I hope you enjoyed it. Not a hugely long one today, but still some very exciting things happening, as always, in the VR space. If you enjoyed the video, please just take a second to leave me a like. That makes a huge difference to the channel and hopefully only takes you like a second to do. And also, if you're new here and this is the first time you're joining us, hi, thanks for watching to this far in the video, and if you enjoyed this and want to see more future content like this, please make sure you are subscribed. Still a small and up-and-coming channel here, so all and any support from you guys is greatly appreciated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.